thanks all for letting the Navy guy into your Air Force clan here for a minute. I was Navy ROTC, didn't do the academy. I went to Boston University and did ROTC there. Graduated in 2000. Went to flight school and found out I got sick in Navy airplanes, which is a bit of a detriment to flying them. So transitioned to be the SLJO over in Japan for our forward deployed naval forces. And the shitty little job that they gave me the most was public affairs. So transitioned into that and ended up as a defense contractor in DC, who was my defense contractor guy. I saw him somewhere. Was fortunate enough to be part of Greg, there you are. Was fortunate enough to be part of a company that was employee owned, and we got acquired by Khaki. And so I had all this money that I didn't know what to do with as a 26-year-old. So I went into business, bought a Dogtopia franchise, which is a dog daycare franchise, if you aren't familiar with it. And I owned that for the last 10 years, moved to Charlotte to open it up, and had a great time doing it. But I'm a mom of 3 kids, 5 girls, or oh, goodness gracious, 3 girls, 5 and under, please Lord, no. So I have 5-year-old twins and a 3-year-old. And when you're running a brick and mortar business with 3 kids, your priorities shift a bit. So I've transitioned in the last year to business coaching. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. I've been doing this for about a year, got my executive coaching certificate from Queen's University, and I'm in the process of finishing up my master's in organization development. So if anybody's ever been through a lit review and a major thesis paper, that's the hell that I'm in right now. Send me thoughts and prayers, please. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with y'all. If I have the ability to. Yep,
Nicole, you should have it.
Yep, I've got it. All right, so let me just get to the start here and screen share. There we go. So what I'm going to talk to y'all today about is, are you immune to change? And it's hard to admit that sometimes we might be the problem in our business, right? So went through all of that with you guys. So the check-in that I want to start with, just to think about for a few seconds, is how could you be standing in the way of your own goals? You know, a lot of times as business owners, there are a lot of things that factor into the success of our business. The economy, a global pandemic, market forces, you know, if anybody's familiar with the 5-factor models, there are a lot of things to consider. But what we don't often consider is ourselves. So is there a possibility that you might be the reason that you're not achieving the things you want to achieve? So I love this quote by Leo Tolstoy: everybody thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. So that's what I want you guys to just put in your mindset. We're going to focus on ourselves today. So the process that I'm going to walk you through is called immunity to change. And it was developed by 2 Harvard professors in the School of Education because they were researching why seriously ill heart patients don't take their medicine when they know that not doing so could kill them. And what they found was that change wasn't a problem of will or insincerity. Like, these heart patients really did want to get better, but they were unable to bridge the gap between what they really wanted and what they were actually able to do. And that was because they had these highly effective behaviors, these competing commitments that were long ingrained to protect themselves from other things in the past. But they weren't serving them then, and they were standing in the way of them actually getting better. And as the Harvard researchers, Keegan and Leahy, dug deeper into this, they found that it really applies to business, it applies to weight loss, it applies to a whole bunch of things, really any change problem that you're trying to overcome. So why does it matter to us as business owners, right? When we identify our own immunity to change, we can better understand, design, and navigate change initiatives, not just with ourselves, but with our team. You can identify how you are working actively working against yourself. So you feel like you have one foot on the brake, one foot on the gas, for yourself, your teams, your whole business. And as part of this, you identify, test, and adapt your big assumptions. Those things that are in the back of your head that you might not even subconsciously think about, that are standing in the way of you achieving your goals. And this will help you develop new behaviors to align with more effective leadership so you can take your business to the next level. So one of my other favorite sayings is, what got you there won't get you there. This will help you change direction to get you where you want to go. So this is, I know it's a lot of words. I hate putting this many words on a PowerPoint slide, but this is what you do to understand your immunity to change. It's called an immunity map, and it's a 4-step process. So step 1 is to identify your improvement goal. This person wants to be receptive to new ideas. They want to be more flexible in responses. This is a CEO, by the way, especially regarding definitions of roles and responsibility, and be more open to delegating and supporting new lines of authority. But what he would actually do was give curt responses to people who were trying to give him new ideas. And it felt like he was closing them off or cutting them off whenever they would come to him. And even if his words were okay, his tone just felt very overruling, like, I'm the boss, I don't need your opinion. He also didn't ask open-ended questions. He wouldn't seek opinions from others. He would either, he would tell them that they needed to get back to him all the time when they were working on something. So he was kind of micromanaging change initiatives. And he would be really quick to give his opinion when people didn't ask for it. So basically, I have this, this was me as a business owner, by the way, and I have this little sign that my old employees got me. And it says, I'm the boss. You can have your opinion, but I'm still right. And that's really what this guy was putting out there. So what the immunity to change model helped him realize is that he really just wanted things done his way, and that he wanted to feel like he was having a direct impact on everything that was happening in the business. He wanted that pride of ownership, to see that it was his, and to be seen as like the problem solver. He knows best, he's in control. And what those commitments identified was that he felt that his life as he knew it would be at risk if he didn't remain in complete control of his business. And I know I have felt that way about my business. I'm sure some of you have felt that way as well, especially when as your team gets bigger and when you have to start giving up some of the things that you've worked on throughout the rest of the history of your business, and you have to start learning how to adapt as you grow. So like I said earlier, it felt to him like he had one foot on the gas and one foot on the pedal when he realized that everything that he was doing to work against his goals. So the reason why a lot of times the things that we try to do to achieve our goals don't work is because we're using technical solutions to what's called adaptive problems. So for example, if I wanted to learn how to draw, I might just watch some YouTube videos and I could learn how to draw and I'd be fine. That's a technical solution to a technical problem. For me, weight loss, I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world, is an adaptive problem. I get that I should diet. I understand what my calorie intake should be, what my exercise output should be, but doing it just doesn't happen the way that it should. And there's a lot of head trash that goes along with it, but identifying some of my immunity to change around weight loss has helped me get on a nutrition plan. It's helped me get on an exercise plan. And, I'm moving forward with the healthier lifestyle that I want to identify. So if you engage with a business coach, make sure that they are not trying to just give you a technical solution to what's really an adaptive problem. It's one of the reasons why I use this method in my own coaching, because as a franchise owner, I had business coaches along the way. I had 2 or 3 throughout the course of my 10 years, but I still didn't always, there was always that one problem. There was always that one thing that my business coach never really helped me fix, never helped me get to the heart of. And it was because we were applying technical solutions to adaptive problems. I never really got over the reason why I wasn't doing the thing in the first place. I just would do the thing for a little while and then I'd stop. Or I'd stop working with them and I'd stop doing the thing. Or I would try and go back to doing it the way they told me, and it wouldn't work that way again. So if you're working with a coach, talk to them about technical problems versus adaptive challenges and see what they have to say. So how do you fix this, right? One, work with a business coach. I'm a big believer that everyone should have a coach and a therapist as part of their team. But if you're working with a coach, work on your own immunity map. There is a great book. If you want to work through it yourself, you can read Immunity to Change. It's also available on Audible, but I'm getting certified to administer this myself. And you just fill out that 4-column immunity map. Identify your big goal. Like, it should be the one big thing that you want to change. And you can even get feedback from your spouse, your partner, your team. Just say to them, hey, if I could change one thing, what should it be? And you'll see from those responses that a theme probably emerges. And that should be your one big thing. And it should be something that you can control. So, I mean, you can't be like, oh, I wish, or I want COVID to go away. Like, that's just not possible. That's not something you have control over. It also needs to be something that you really want to fix. So it can't be something like, oh, well, it would be really cool if I could increase my revenue 5%. You have to really, truly want it to happen. And then you work on you identify all the things that you are doing or not doing that work against that goal. And they should be very specific actions. So if you want to grow your revenue 5%, maybe you are not doing networking. Maybe you are not engaging with people on LinkedIn. Maybe you are focusing on your operations instead of focusing on networking and marketing and sales. And then for your 3rd column, you think about all of the things that make you uncomfortable or fearful even when you think about doing the opposite. So for a lot of people, if sales is one of your goals, the thought of actually like cold calling people or pushing your services on people sounds really schwarmy and uncomfortable. So you might be afraid of being seen as a slick sales guy. And so you would be, your commitment then would be, I'm committed to being a kind and caring salesperson, maybe. And then from those competing commitments that you identify, you see what the big themes are and you identify your big assumption. So when we looked at the example before from the CEO, he realized that his big assumption was his life would be at risk if he wasn't the guy in charge. And so your big assumption with sales might be, I won't be true to who I am if I become a sales guy, right? So after you've completed your immunity map, then you have to test them, right? So it's a very scientific process. You run experiments on what your big assumptions are. And if everybody's ever heard of SMART goals, these are very similar, little bit different. So you need to make sure your experiments are safe, modest, actionable, research-based, and are actual tests. So one way to test an assumption like, I can't be authentic as a salesperson, is to try maybe taking a sales course and seeing if you can learn some sales techniques that are not things like cold calling or sending random LinkedIn messages. You can also, there are lots of surveys that you can conduct to kind of get a before picture. You know, as business coaches, we love metrics because you need to identify what your starting point is to see if you've actually grown over time. So you might want to identify like, okay, right now, here's my revenue. These are how many sales calls I'm making. This is what my team looks like. And then after you test your big assumptions and you do those experiments, okay, well, I've taken this sales course and now I feel comfortable making 10 sales calls a week or going to 4 networking events. And now this is my revenue. So you can see how your growth happens over time. And that's what we love as coaches, is to see that growth. So there's a couple things you can do right now. One, as I mentioned, I'm writing my master's capstone on this topic. So you can actually create an immunity map by helping me out with my master's survey. And I'll put this link in the chat as well, and I'll send it as a follow-up for you as well. But I am actually identifying what assumptions entrepreneurs make that impact their success. So if you take this survey, you'll actually be asked questions that essentially fill out your immunity map. And then I'll follow up with you afterwards and give you a free coaching session. If you have another big issue that you are looking for, you can always schedule a free business pulse check with me just to figure out kind of what's going on in your business. I use a 3-step diagnose, revive, rehabilitate process with all of my clients. So we diagnose what holistically is going on in your business. We use leadership assessments. We use the immunity to change map. I'll look at your strategic business plans and your financial plans, your marketing plans, all of that to kind of get a big picture of what's going on in your business. And then we revive it together with a series of treatment plans to create action steps that then helps rehabilitate your business and your life through accountability and progress towards your goals. So here's all my contact info. These are my lovely daughters, Claire on the left, Eleanor in the middle, and Amelia on the right. Obviously big Sox fans coming from Boston, but I'm going to stop sharing. I think I saw some things in the chat. All right,
great, Nicole.
What questions do we have?
Anybody? Yeah, anybody want to ask Nicole questions or whatever? Nicole, they'll be getting your contact information as well, but you might as well put it in the chat.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Nicole at this point? And certainly anybody can follow up with her, vice versa, on each other. If you come up with one, jump in there and ask her, or well, she's got a few more minutes left. And Nicole, you don't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. Okay.
Hey Nicole,
Sure.
How's your Dogtopia franchise going? We take our dogs to the one here in Clarksville, Maryland.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually sold the Dogtopia location in December when I decided that I wanted to devote my attention to this full time. And talk about getting out right before a pandemic. But the Clarksville location is wonderful. They're great people.
Yeah.
Great,
Nice.
great. Okay, so if nobody has any questions, then I'll take back over the meeting. Nicole, thank you for coming. Okay. All right.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
Navy.
Thanks, Nicole. That was great information. Thank you.